So here we are, out on the fast road, hoping that it's going to work all the way there and all the way back. Well, as I mentioned in the last video, there's been a number of things that have kept the fast road off the road over the last few months, and they weren't all problems. Some of the things were things I decided to do, like the upgrade to 105. But over and above that, I decided to upgrade the brakes, or the brake calipers anyway. I say upgrade, there wasn't really anything wrong with the ones that were on here, but well, you know what it's like. You see something that you think is better and you want one. And for me, the brake calipers had always looked a bit, I don't know, cheap, crude. I don't know how you'd describe it really, but yeah, they worked fine. So why did I upgrade them? Well, let's be completely honest and say aesthetics. And sometimes you've got to admit that, you know, people are always justifying why they've upgraded their bike to this or that, but most of the time it's not because they needed to, it's because they wanted to, either for aesthetics or for the fact that they think people will take them less seriously with cheaper components, you know, all those kind of things. And I tried to justify this to myself because I saw these, they were brand new, they weren't used, on Facebook Marketplace, set of GRX 400 calipers for 40 quid. And I thought, phew, they look so much nicer than the Tektro ones that are on the bike, and they're only 40 quid. But I justified it to myself by saying, well, the other two bikes have got GRX 400 calipers, so I'll only have to keep one brake pad, or one set of brake pads, in the spare parts box. So you might be thinking, why not put 105 calipers on? I mean, if you're upgrading the rest of the bike to 105, surely that would make sense, and you'd be right. But whilst I'm upgrading the bike purely for aesthetic reasons, I am still a tight bastard, and I could get a set of GRX calipers for 40 quid, and I couldn't get a set of 105 calipers for 40 quid. So there you have it. So I got the new calipers and I was eager to put them on, but I've never done anything like this before. In my racing days, disc brakes were unheard of, never mind hydraulic discs. Had the calipers on my desk for about a month, looking at them, deciding when was the best time to do it. So I went on Amazon and I bought a bleed kit, and then I started having a look at the YouTube, see if I could find out how to do it. Of course, then I realised I've only got calipers, I haven't got levers. It was 105 and GRX. I've dropped my group sets, so you can't get GRX flat bar brake levers. I mean, obviously there's things that are compatible, and then I started looking, well, there's nothing wrong with the Tektro levers I've got on the bike, and they look the same as the Shimano. They don't look particularly crude or anything. I just keep them. So I started reading up. Turns out Tektro levers and Shimano calipers are compatible. They use the same hose, they use the same oil. That doesn't stop the prophets of doom telling you shouldn't be doing it. Number of forums I looked at and people saying, don't, you'll die. How do you know they're compatible? What if the master cylinder size is wrong? What if this? What if that? Well, one thing that bikes do have by design is dual circuit brakes. I mean, it's a very simple thing. One brake lever operates the hydraulic fluid in a hose to the back caliper. A completely separate lever operates or forces hydraulic fluid through another hose, which is completely separate, to the other caliper. Well, this is good enough for me because I'll do one at a time. And that way, if it doesn't work, I'll be able to use the other brake. And so I started doing the job. And I found you've got two options for bleeding brakes. You can either force hydraulic fluid through a hose using a syringe, or you can do it the other way round using gravity. And a gravity bleed is what Shimano recommends, and they're Shimano calipers, so I decided that's what I would do. So I put the caliper on, bled it through, and it all seemed to work. And I have to say, it was easier than I expected. So if you're thinking that your brakes need bleeding and you're afraid of it, don't be. I mentioned before I've had a puncture in the front tyre on this bike. I put a plug in it and that did absolutely nothing. I got halfway round the ride, tyre was flat, had to pump it up and made it home, but only just. Really annoying. So I decided it was going to mean new tyres. Oh, well, why not just replace one of them? Yes. Unfortunately, as I've said before, I don't really want to be political, but the consequence of Brexit Britain is you can't get stuff when you want it. Everything is out of stock everywhere, and you just have to grab what you can get. I wanted to put the same tyres that were on it. I couldn't get them. Only in a 40 mil. I wanted 33. I do buy tyres every now and then when I see a good deal for that reason. So in the end, after trying various different things, various different websites and companies, I decided that the 35 mil to Renault Zeros that I had earmarked for the trek would have to go on this bike. So I put them on. I say I put them on. Wow! My wife and I fought together with this. These tyres put up a fight. They did not want to go onto the rim, and they fought us like you can't believe. But eventually they went on. But the nice thing about it was Using only a track pump and not much effort, they seated. I hadn't put any sealant in because I didn't know if they would seat, and I didn't want to have sealant running out all over the place and tyres that you couldn't get seated. I just took the valve out and used a syringe to put sealant in. So again, if you're thinking of putting 35mm tyres on your Fastroad, they do fit. Because after I put the wheels back on with the new tyres, I went out for a little test ride, only to find that the free hub had seized. So the bike was off the road again, and it had to have a new free hub. So while it was off the road, I put the front caliper on. It doesn't have the same nice feel that the back one has, but it's working. But I do think I'll give it another bleed just to try and sort it all out. So here we are, out on the Fastroad with new tyres and new brakes. And it's nice to be back out on it. And it's not raining, which makes a change. Although, that's not to say it won't start raining before I get back. It's been quite windy though. And I went out yesterday on the Revolt, and boy, did I do some hill climbing. Whew. I went up a hill that I've been afraid of. I always wanted to try it, and I've been afraid of it because it goes up about 400 feet in half a mile, and I'm not a very good hill climber, but I managed it, and I felt a huge sense of achievement. But then the rest of the route was many more fairly big climbs, well, by my standards anyway. After that, the GPS said I'd been working really hard yesterday, so I should have an easier day today. And it is nice sometimes just to be out happy wheeling, not pushing yourself all the way, just enjoying the scenery.